All right, we've had some great rain here over the last, well, this whole week actually. It started with that Tuesday morning rain, and then, of course, yesterday. This is a radar replay from late last night into the early morning hours. Heaviest rainfall, you can see these higher colors here to the south, and that's where we saw heaviest rainfall totals. We'll run through the radar estimates, and you can see two basic swaths. One from west of the Twin Cities through the metro, right through the heart of the Twin Cities, where we saw 1 to 2 inches of rain yesterday into last night and early this morning. That was pretty average, about 1 to 2 for most of us. A little less in the southern suburbs and a little less in some of the northern suburbs too, but within the 494, 694 loop, 1 to 2 inches was pretty average. But you get further south, just north or along the Minnesota-Iowa border here, just south of Austin, that's where we had radar estimates of 6 to 7 inches of rain. So that's where we're talking about that heavy rain potential. That's why there was that flash flood watch out overnight, and we are not done yet. So these are actual measured amounts from rain gauges, and you can see pretty much 1 to 2. There are some 3-inch amounts for some spots too. And the drought monitor not quite reflecting yesterday's rain yet. This is updated weekly. It takes days of data to look at, to really look at it. But there are some subtle changes. Most notably, the metro, a little bit out of some of the worst parts of the drought, but you can see northern Minnesota has not been getting this rain, so still extreme and exceptional drought. The exceptional drought hasn't changed, still about 8% of Minnesota up around the Bemidji area, but the extreme drought did increase from 50 to 58% of the state, and 90-day rainfall deficits for the summer still are pretty low. But again, this does not reflect in the Twin Cities the rain we've had yesterday. It takes a little while for that data to really get into the system, but things will improve for us at least after all this rain. The whole U.S., though, western half of the country is still pretty dry and still in some extreme drought, of course, off to the west. So we've got this surface low to the west still, warm front to the south. That's where winds are straight out of the south. We're just north of it, but that's why we've seen these overnight storms erupt along that front as that low-level jet gets going and transports the moisture into Minnesota. So that was the scenario yesterday, and the whole setup hasn't moved much, so that's why we're going to see more of this. It looks like later today, especially just to the southeast. That's where the best energy is going to be too for any severe weather. So the warm front does lift back north here over the next 24 hours, and that's going to set us up for not only some more heavy rain tomorrow night in the Twin Cities, but also the potential for some severe weather, which is going to stay mainly just to our southeast today, it looks like. So there's where that slight risk is. Places like Rochester, northern Iowa, into Wisconsin, best chance for seeing some strong storms with that redevelopment later today. We're going to be really north of probably the best stuff for that. But here's, as we head into the evening, you can see those storms popping up mainly southeast of the Twin Cities. We could see some of those showers and thunderstorms moving to the metro, but the severe risk looks to stay just to the south. Now tomorrow, that's when we see that risk move north, as I mentioned, as the warm front lifts back north again. We're going to see some peaks of sun. It's going to be very humid. We could pop into the mid to upper 80s tomorrow, so a juicy atmosphere. That's why the C.A.P.E. Thunderstorm available energy basically is really very high values here right across the metro in southern Minnesota. So we're going to look for the potential for some very strong storms to erupt. Dry during most of the day, but then storms develop in western Minnesota, and the model's indicating these potentials for bow echoes, those straight line wind type storms to develop, maybe a couple of them. One later in the afternoon, evening, and then another one maybe late in the night tomorrow night. So those both are going to provide some very heavy rainfall in addition to some severe weather risks. And as we look at the models, short-term models, some of those wind gusts, they are hinting at those severe wind gusts in those storms. Again, this is late tomorrow afternoon into the evening and overnight. So potential for some of those high wind gusts. And it is going to be very warm tomorrow, as I mentioned, out ahead of it, upper 80s. And then pretty pleasant. We clear out early Sunday. Looks like we're in for a several-day stretch of dry weather. Pretty much perfect temperatures, upper 70s to near 80. And then the next chance of thunder is not until Thursday next week. And hopefully we get that out of the way for the Labor Day weekend.